quality wins, which we'd have liked to have had with the non-conference schedule, but I do think it's prepared us to play. So we open on the road at Vandy, where we've had some tough games. I played up there. This will be my fourth time I'm playing at Vandy. So we've won the first 3 times by an average of 6 points. I mean, they played us tough up there. They've been good. You know, right now they're you know, the record may not be as great. I think Stackhouse is one of the best coaches in the league. I mean, you look at his after timeout sets he draws up, they're as good as anybody. So they're going to expose. I told our guys, like, if you make a mistake defensively, if you're screwing stuff up, they're going to expose it the next time they get a chance. So we've got to be locked in on the defensive end. You know, their backcourt is really good. You know, if we don't guard, you know, man, John, I think it's 4 SEC players. It's averaging 15.5 points and 3.5 assists. I mean, it's him and Sears, Wade Taylor, and Shawnee. So he's in pretty elite company. He's quick. He gets downhill. We've had issues with guys getting the paint too much. So he's going to put some pressure on our defense. And then, you know, Tyron Lawrence is obviously really good too. So they've got an experienced backcourt. We've got to do a better job guarding. But I'm looking forward to playing SEC games. I think we've had a good, you know, week. We've had it ever since the Arizona game. I think our guys have been fairly locked into defense. I think we're ready to start playing some SEC games and start playing better on the defensive end.
Start here with Charlie.
Hey, Coach, just from your preseason through the Liberty game, where do you think the team improved the most going into SEC play?
Yeah, on the defensive end for sure. I mean, it was the area we needed the most improvements, the area we've spent the most time on. You know, I think we've been doing a better job keeping the ball out of the lane. You know, we've trying to do a better job guarding without fouling. I think we've been able to do that. But, you know, this will be the first time major team we played since that Arizona game. So, you know, can we keep the ball out of paint, which then helps us guard without fouling? Can we guard without fouling? Can we rebound the ball better? Those have been some huge points emphasis. You know, I think if we can rebound it better, get stops without fouling, it'll even help our offense even more because we can play in transition even more.
Kate.
You talked about in your opening the 3 wins you have at Vanderbilt, just but they've been close games. Kind of how have you been able to break that Memorial Gym curse that Blake Alvin struggled with so far?
Yeah, they told me about that when I got here. I don't know what the right Aaron would probably know. He's here before. Look, to me, different venues have different. You know, Vanderbilt is kind of a tough place to play. Just the way the background is with shooting, and it's just so much different than any other arena in the league. But I don't really believe in all the curses and stuff. I think it's, you come in, you get you guys ready to play, they play, and typically the team that's most prepared with the best talent on the floor that's better coach wins. And I think we've been fortunate enough to have more talent on the floor in those 3 games we've had, and we've gotten them to play well enough to get the win. Now, we haven't always played our best basketball up there, I'll say that, but you know, I thought last year we played pretty well. You know, but we've had some close games up there, some very close games that should not have been probably as close as they've been, but we've been fortunate enough to get the wins. And it's not going to be easy. We've been trying to tell our guys this. Like, I would hope that they would know, and we've lost 5 games already this year to high major teams. It's a high major team with a very good coach, with a great backcourt. You win games in college with good backcourts, experienced backcourt, and that's what this team has up at Vandy.
Blake.
How would you assess Aaron Estrada's play the last couple games compared to maybe that mid-December stretch, and how important is he to your success?
I mean, shoot, we restatted it. We had him with 13, 10, and 9 the last game. I 1 assist away from a triple-double. I thought it was the best game he's played. I think he's starting to figure out, you know, where to attack, where to get the assists, how playing with these guys a little more. So, you know, we knew he could be good. Obviously, he showed out how well he could score the first game, the first half of the first game here, but I think he's figuring a lot of other things out. So, you know, I think he's a guy that hopefully we can get him a triple-double this year with the amount of shooting and players he has around him. Hopefully he's got more games where he gets double-digit assists, but he's also a guy that gets in there, puts his nose in there, and rebounds it. So I think overall, his overall game, playmaking, defense, rebounding, all of it's, I think he's playing his best basketball of the year so far right now.
Nick.
Yeah, you guys are 6th in KenPom right now, and there's the only other team in the top 25 with 5 losses is Michigan State at 17. What is that like to have the record you do, but to still statistically be in such a good spot?
Yeah, it's a little frustrating, and I've talked to our guys a little about that, because the websites that measure efficiency metrics, Bart Torvik's got us up, most of those have us in the top 10. So we've dominated some quality mid-major opponents very well, but there's got to be a competitive edge about you that when you're up 9 against Purdue and they're starting to make a run, you've got to get stops and have great possession. You got to figure out how to win. Like, we can't just have the best offense, have the most efficient offense, but no, you got to figure out how to win. Like, you put all this time in to become skilled. We've got gym rats all over the team. I mean, Sears is in this gym as much as anybody, and Aaron's in there as much as Sears. I mean, the 2 of those guards are in there all the time. I mean, you don't shoot as well as Trelly, Ryland, Sam, Davin, our shooters do without putting a bunch of time in the gym. Our big Grant's in the gym all the time. Like, we got a multitude of guys in the gym all the time that are really skilled. Our offense is the most efficient offense in the country. We have 5 losses because we don't compete enough at times in the game when it's time to win the game, and we don't compete enough. In our 5 losses, 4 out of the 5, we've had at least a 6-point lead in the second half with a 75% chance of winning the game, and then lost the game. So, got to get better leadership. I've got to do a better job coaching them at various times in the second half, whether it's a needed timeout, points of emphasis, having the right combination of guys on the floor that actually care about winning and they're going to get stops. But we've got to compete. We've got to learn how to win. We've got to do all that better. Efficiency-wise, we're top 10, top 5 team in the country, but nobody that's actually judging wins and losses has us in their top 25 even. So we've got some work to do is to figure out how to win close games against good teams.
Go ahead again, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about having that competitive edge, but is that something that is innate, or can you be coached that, or how does that work?
It's something that I think some guys have it better than others. I mean, you think about the most competitive guys in the history of any kind of sports, athletics. But I also think the team has to. Some of it can be coached. I mean, that's why you see certain coaches. Teams are always very competitive. Houston's got the best defense in the country. Coach Sampson, his teams always play hard, and we played them twice. We're fortunate to get wins, and I think our teams have been pretty competitive and tough here in the past. This year, for whatever reason, I haven't done as good a job getting this group to be as competitive as we need to be. So that's on me, and I've got to do a better job. Now, do you know how competitive they are when you recruit them? I think you can somewhat tell. You can't always tell until you always get them here. Like, some guys have been able to win based on the level they play, whether it's high school or whether it's transfers at a lower level with being more talented. When, like with Brandon, nobody knew how competitive Brandon was until he got here and had to show how competitive he was, and he showed he's a pretty competitive kid. When we needed to get stops, Brandon was pretty good on defense. People might have questioned his defense before he got here because I think the game came so easy to him in high school, but he competed on the defensive end. Noah Clowney competed hard on the defensive end. We've got a bunch of really nice kids, and I got to do a better job making them more competitive, tougher, figuring out how to win, be winners. Because they're all good kids. We don't have any guys that are fighting us on what we're asking to do. We just got to get more competitive and figure out how to win some of these tough games.
Kurt, on your left.
Something you said just sort of reminded me of something you've told us in the past, that it's not necessarily the guys who start, it's the guys that finish. Is that something you have to figure out as the game's in progress, or do you have something in mind for it?
It'd be nice if I had it in mind before, cause you know, 5 guys that separate themselves, but I don't really. I think it depends on who's playing well that particular night, what kind of defensive lineup we need in, you know, where the game's at. Do you need guys that can make free throws? Do you have a lead? You know, some of our guys struggle with the line. You can't have them in at the end of games because they're gonna get fouled. Kind of giving away free stops to the other team. So there's different scenarios where I think we could have different groups in. You know, if we're down, we need a 3-point shooting team in. So we're still figuring that out, and I do think that's accurate. You know, in a tight game, I think it's way more important who closes the game than who starts. And I think the mature guys that are about winning understand that too. It doesn't matter whether I start the game or not. It matters what I can do to help the team win through the course of the game. And, you know, we just need to come out with a win at the end of the game.
Anyone else? Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, folks.